Hello guys, welcome back to our Anime Explainer. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Be careful, his force exertions are greater than ours, Luo Feng shouted. He was long prepared for Nuolan Shan exploding and attacking him, however that kick still far exceeded what Luo Feng had anticipated. His shoulder was still in immense pain, fighting with me. Nuolan Shan coldly swung a kick. Thunder God, who was the first to rush in, Thunder God's entire waist section twisted slightly, almost like a twisted piece of fried dough, dodging the kick, and his fist swung in an arc that had a sudden boost in speed, strangely whistling as it headed towards Nuolan Shan. Nuolan Shan's eyebrows creased. The left kick he had thrown out became a horizontal slice, slicing towards Thunder God's waist, creating tremor from the impact. Thunder God's body softened and absorbed the impact, just like cotton candy, wrapping himself around Nuolan Shan's left leg and simultaneously getting prepared to use a binding killing technique. Soft methods? Nuolan Shan's expression changed slightly. Wang. The individual muscles within his left leg suddenly softened and collapsed, at the same time, just like a big slippery snake, slipping swiftly out of the binding hold. Rumble. A terrifying exploding sound. Hong's right leg was like a sharp cone piercing towards Nuolan Shan's head. Nuolan Shan smiled malevolently and rushed ahead instead, his body crouched a little lower, easily avoiding the kick. But Hong's right kick actually immediately hacked downwards as it headed straight towards Nuolan Shan's head. Get lost! Nuolan Shan scolded, actually using his head to hit the leg. His neck suddenly seemed to have thickened by 2 or 3 layers. Get lost! Nuolan Shan shouted fiercely, his eyes raging. His arms seemed to suddenly expand and get bigger, at the same time having a peculiar piercing power, simultaneously dispersing Thunder God's palms, Hong's fists, and at the same time hitting the two on their chests, causing Hong and Thunder God to spit blood and fly backwards. Silence. Many people within the spacious hall of the killing fields looked over. Whatever we've destroyed, put it on my bill. Nuolan Shan yelled, before looking coldly at Luo Feng and the others. Luo Feng, Hong, and Thunder God were extremely shocked. Usually against the same level of opponent, Luo Feng's spirit energy attacks could usually completely decimate the opponent. However, this time, without any spirit weapons in the huge hall, Luo Feng could only rely on attacking his mental capacity. However, it didn't seem to affect Nuolan Shan at all. And Hong and Thunder God, during the Great Nirvana, one was a master at martial arts, while the other was a yoga master and martial artist. The two were both extremely adept at close-hand battles, and this time they actually both lost to one person. One had to know, everyone's body build and spiritual force were of the same strength. This was the virtual universe, every single person's body build was exactly the same. Just you think you can use spirit energy to attack and defeat me? Nuolan Shan looked at the distant and clearly shocked Lu Feng, coldly laughing. In the Battle Axe Coliseum, if I couldn't deal with spirit attacks, how do you think I could have survived, much less win 1,000 battles and acquire the Battle Axe warrior status? Even though their spirit energy levels were similar, however the consciousness level, as a Battle Axe Universe level 9 warrior, his consciousness was indeed very strong. As for you too, don't think that just because we have similar bodies you can look down on a universe level warrior. Even with the same bodies, the strong can still easily subdue you too. Well said. The universe mercenary Kunxi shouted from beside, right? Even in the virtual universe, the weak still have to respect the strong. Be it consciousness, skills, experience, unleashing of strength, etc., these little brats are too far off. And they are arrogant. Immediately beside them, a few universe-level warriors began talking. Countless people looked on with weird gazes at Luo Feng and his two brothers. These 3 brats actually dared to disrespect universe levels? Respecting the strong in the universe was the most basic form of courtesy. They deserve it. They deserved to be taught a lesson. Many people began to chime in. Hong, Luo Feng, and Thunder God's expressions were ice-cold. Nuolan Shan. Luo Feng said coldly, respecting the strong is the most basic form of courtesy, but before, within the killing fields, I've never once offended the strong. However you scum, because of your greed, you've killed so many of my fellow race people, up to tens of millions. The humans of Earth had indeed lost many lives because of the Nuolan Shan family. With multiple battles, the ones lost to the shockwaves and impacts were many. Along with the arrival of the Nuolan Shan family arrival causing the bases of the entire world to go into chaos, with all the robbing and riots, within the chaos, many more died, and you even wanted to use force to buy my planet? Killing my people, using force to buy my planet, and you still want me to respect you? Bullshit. Dream on. Luo Feng lowered his head and spit fiercely. Nuolan Shan's expression kept changing, however he had no way to refute. Whatever Luo Feng said was indeed true. Many of the people with huge backgrounds around them came from the various continents of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, all nodded their heads, so it was like that. No wonder this group of youths actually fought it out with this Battle Axe warrior. Oh, no wonder. This youth really has guts. The situation became clear to those around. With a feud between the two, it was natural that all forms of respect was thrown out the window. Nuolan Shan looked at Luo Feng, slightly nodding his head, a mouth that really knows how to speak. Big brother, second brother, let us go. Luo Feng waved, let's go. Hong said, people like these aren't worth our words. Thunder God joined in. Luo Feng and the other two headed straight towards the exit of the big hall. Nuolan Shan's expression was ashen, raging from within. However, he was indeed clear that he was eyeing Earth, eyeing its treasures, and since it was greed, he wasn't upright at all. And now since he didn't wish to speak about the matter, because he didn't want anybody else to discover the treasures of Earth, Luo Feng. Nuolan Shan said coldly. Luo Feng turned to look at Nuolan Shan, smiling, Mr. Nuolan Shan, what other matters do you have? Just now when I fought you all, aren't you very dissatisfied? Nuolan Shan squinted his eyes, yes, I am. Luo Feng said coldly, you, Universe Level 9 warrior, with experience, strength, consciousness, etc., all stronger than us, the battle wasn't even fair, and you think I'll be satisfied? I'll give you another chance. Nuolan Shan snorted softly, I'll find 3 underlings of the same level and grade as you all to fight on 3 different battlefields. As long as out of the 3 battles, you are able to win 1 battle, then you'll be considered the winners of this entire gamble. I'll give you 10 billion Gunwu dollars. However, if you all don't even win 1 battle, you give me your planet. A gambling battle is fine, but the bet being the planet? No way. Luo Feng looked at Nuolan Shan. Nuolan Shan was extremely enraged, to the point he grinded his teeth. This Luo Feng, he valued this Earth far too much. Did this Luo Feng not know even though it had the automaton ship and such level of treasures, with Luo Feng's background, the moment he took it out, it would be snatched away by others, immediately exchanging it for 100 billion Gunwu dollars, he wasn't even willing, it's 100 billion Gunwu dollars. He was really hoping beyond all hope to acquire the rights to Earth, that way, even if he couldn't excavate all the treasures of Earth, he could still auction off the planet, selling off all the treasures in one go. With the rights to the planet, conducting all the businesses would be a lot more convenient, there wouldn't be a need to sneakily send 2 universe levels to invade Earth. This sort of action was called theft. And the thing that Nuolan Shan was most worried about was that Luo Feng had already claimed the rights from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, meaning that the families of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire knew how to head towards Earth. Nuolan Shan was afraid that those big families would start having interest towards Earth, sending armies through the wormhole and towards Earth. After all, the Nuolan Shan family was only the 3rd family in the Kaluo Empire. And the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's critical people within the bigger families, usually the founders, were all sector lords. If that level of family were to intervene, his Nuolan Shan family wouldn't stand a chance at all. Within the hall of the killing fields, Nuolan Shan watched as Luo Feng and the other 2 left, eyes ice cold. The 2 bald universe mercenaries from North Dragon City walked over, of which Kunxi even laughed, Mr. Nuolan Shan, that Luo Feng and his party are just 3 brats that aren't worth getting angry over. If Mr. Nuolan Shan is unhappy, we'll find a chance, and go destroy his real body in reality if need be. Right, Mr. Nuolan Shan, from what I see, we'd better first head into the battle space. The other bald universe mercenary persuaded, hold on a moment, Nuolan Shan said coldly, turning to look at the not too far off Bulemu and Haruo, the 2 of you, come here. Us? Haruo with the pale skin and red hair, along with the huge and sturdy black man Bulemu glanced at each other, their hearts palpitating with fear. The powerful warrior that even their 2 instructors who had to butter up to was looking for them. If he wanted to kill them it would be too simple, Haruo groaned under his breath, Luo Feng, you've really screwed us over. We greet Mr. Nuolan Shan. Haruo and Bulemu said respectfully, what's the number of his virtual universe account? Haruo and Bulemu were slightly shocked, hesitating for a moment. However, staring straight 2 universe-level military instructors along with a battle-axe warrior, the 2 could only lower their heads and exchange glances. Finally, Haruo said softly, Sir, Luo Feng's virtual universe number is, Haruo reported a long account number, okay. Nuolan Shan turned to leave straight after hearing it. The 2 bald universe mercenaries followed behind. Milky Way, Earth. The Westlake courtyard was fully rebuilt, also Luo Feng had installed a special highest D1 grade level castle within the universe. Around this castle were planet surveillance systems and security, this was the center. The entire solar system's many surveillance satellites, defense systems, etc. were mostly controlled from here. Within the castle, a 7-story planet control room, master. Around the dark space wormhole area, there have been 3 groups that have entered, the first is a D3 grade ship, the second is a D1 grade ship while the third is a C8 grade ship. Luo Feng stood within the main control room of the Earth defense system. Before him a huge floating screen was separated into 3 scenes, each showing a different universe ship. This scene caused Luo Feng to slightly crease his eyebrows, pondering over the situation. These 3 groups of people should be from 3 different groups. According to the levels of the ships, we can deduce the strength and levels. The first batch, there's a high possibility that there's a universe-level warrior. The second batch is probably a group of elite star levels or a universe level. The third batch is most probably a group of star levels. Luo Feng did the deduction swiftly within his mind. Ever since he made the request to become Earth's leader, the only way to head towards Earth was through the wormhole and traveling through space for 2 years and 8 months. This method was definitely known by the Empire. Hence, there would be other powers sending little scout teams over. This too was within his calculations. Luo Feng, you have new mail in the Virtual Universe network. Oh, connect to the Virtual Universe. On Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-Star Bay, people mostly built along the bay, or the protruding small mountain range to build their extravagant villas, all customizing according to their wishes. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God had also bought a piece of land along a river, constructing the building mainly using wood. First young master, this move is really beautiful. Second young master, you should be kicking at this time. Uncle Meng too, when can I actually enter the inner sect? Very soon, just train a little more and it'll happen. Within a 3-story wooden pavilion, 2 young black Mongolian youths were currently engaged in teaching Luo Feng's 2 children Ping Ping and Little Hai. Luo Feng suddenly appeared and the 2 children looked surprised over, Daddy. Luo Ping and Luo Hai, under the permission of Luo Feng, were specially sent into the virtual universe by Barbata to play the virtual games. These were games that secretly had beneficial effects on their learning through fun. With regards to their body's abilities to expend energy skills, etc., even though they were just children, however his own 2 children were many times stronger than back when he lived in a rental apartment before. Also, Luo Feng had used a few evolution treasures during their conception period. Just now when I fought you all, aren't you very dissatisfied? Nuolan Shan squinted his eyes. Yes, I am. Luo Feng said coldly, you, Universe Level 9 warrior, with experience, strength, consciousness, etc., all stronger than us, the battle wasn't even fair, and you think I'll be satisfied? I'll give you another chance. Nuolan Shan snorted softly. I'll find 3 underlings of the same level and grade as you all to fight on 3 different battlefields. As long as out of the 3 battles, you are able to win 1 battle, then you'll be considered the winners of this entire gamble. I'll give you 10 billion Gunwu dollars. However, if you all don't even win 1 battle, you give me your planet. A gambling battle is fine, but the bet being the planet? No way. Luo Feng looked at Nuolan Shan. Nuolan Shan was extremely enraged, to the point he grinded his teeth. This Luo Feng, he valued this earth far too much. Did this Luo Feng not know even though it had the automaton ship and such level of treasures, with Luo Feng's background, the moment he took it out, it would be snatched away by others, immediately exchanging it for 100 billion Gunwu dollars. He wasn't even willing, it's 100 billion Gunwu dollars. He was really hoping beyond all hope to acquire the rights to Earth. That way, even if he couldn't excavate all the treasures of Earth, he could still auction off the planet, selling off all the treasures in one go. With the rights to the planet, conducting all the businesses would be a lot more convenient. There wouldn't be a need to sneakily send 2 universe levels to invade Earth. This sort of action was called theft. And the thing that Nuolan Shan was most worried about was that Luo Feng had already claimed the rights from the Black Dragon Mountain Empire, meaning that the families of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire knew how to head towards Earth. Nuolan Shan was afraid that those big families would start having interest towards Earth, sending armies through the wormhole and towards Earth. After all, the Nuolan Shan family was only the 3rd family in the Kaluo Empire. And the Black Dragon Mountain Empire's critical people within the bigger families, usually the founders, were all sector lords. If that level of family were to intervene, his Nuolan Shan family wouldn't stand a chance at all. Within the hall of the killing fields, Nuolan Shan watched as Luo Feng and the other 2 left, eyes ice cold. The 2 bald universe mercenaries from North Dragon City walked over, of which Kunxi even laughed. Mr. Nuolan Shan, that Luo Feng and his party are just 3 brats that aren't worth getting angry over. If Mr. Nuolan Shan is unhappy, we'll find a chance, and go destroy his real body in reality if need be. Right, Mr. Nuolan Shan, from what I see, we'd better first head into the battle space. The other bald universe mercenary persuaded. Hold on a moment, Nuolan Shan said coldly, turning to look at the not too far off Bulemu and Haruo. The 2 of you, come here. Us? Haruo with the pale skin and red hair, along with the huge and sturdy black man Bulemu glanced at each other, their hearts palpitating with fear. The powerful warrior that even their 2 instructors who had to butter up to was looking for them? If he wanted to kill them it would be too simple. Haruo groaned under his breath. Luo Feng, you've really screwed us over. We greet Mr. Nuolan Shan. Haruo and Bulemu said respectfully, what's the number of his virtual universe account? Haruo and Bulemu were slightly shocked, hesitating for a moment. However, staring straight to universe-level military instructors along with a battle-axe warrior, the 2 could only lower their heads and exchange glances. Finally, Haruo said softly, Sir, Luo Feng's virtual universe number is... Haruo reported a long account number. Okay. Nuolan Shan turned to leave straight after hearing it. The 2 bald universe mercenaries followed behind. Milky Way, Earth. The Westlake courtyard was fully rebuilt. Also, Luo Feng had installed a special highest D1 grade level castle within the universe. Around this castle were planet surveillance systems and security. This was the center. The entire solar system's many surveillance satellites, defense systems, etc. were mostly controlled from here. Within the castle, a 7-story planet control room, master. Around the dark space wormhole area, there have been 3 groups that have entered. The first is a D3 grade ship, the second is a D1 grade ship, while the third is a C8 grade ship. Luo Feng stood within the main control room of the Earth defense system. Before him a huge floating screen was separated into 3 scenes, each showing a different universe ship. This scene caused Luo Feng to slightly crease his eyebrows, pondering over the situation. These 3 groups of people should be from 3 different groups. According to the levels of the ships, we can deduce the strength and levels. The first batch, there's a high possibility that there's a universe-level warrior. The second batch is probably a group of elite star levels or a universe level. The third batch is most probably a group of star levels. Luo Feng did the deduction swiftly within his mind. Ever since he made the request to become Earth's leader, the only way to head towards Earth was through the wormhole and traveling through space for 2 years and 8 months. This method was definitely known by the Empire. Hence, there would be other powers sending little scout teams over. This too was within his calculations. Luo Feng, you have new mail in the virtual universe network. Oh, connect to the virtual universe. On Black Dragon Mountain Island, 9-star bay, people mostly built along the bay, or the protruding small mountain range to build their extravagant villas, all customizing according to their wishes. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God had also bought a piece of land along a river, constructing the building mainly using wood. First young master, this move is really beautiful. Second young master, you should be kicking at this time. Uncle Meng too, when can I actually enter the inner sect? Very soon, just train a little more and it'll happen. Within a 3-story wooden pavilion, 2 young black Mongolian youths were currently engaged in teaching Luo Feng's 2 children Ping Ping and Little Hai. Luo Feng suddenly appeared and the 2 children looked surprised over, Daddy. Luo Ping and Luo Hai, under the permission of Luo Feng, were specially sent into the virtual universe by Barbata to play the virtual games. These were games that secretly had beneficial effects on their learning through fun. With regards to their body's abilities to expend energy skills, etc., even though they were just children, however his own 2 children were many times stronger than back when he lived in a rental apartment before. Also, Luo Feng had used a few evolution treasures during their conception period. This was commonly seen in big families in the universe. These all made Luo Hai and Luo Ping, who were only at the age of 4, to be intermediate-level warriors. On Earth, this was indeed shocking, however in the universe, it was common and normal. Who's male? Luo Feng sat on a nearby chair. With a thought, a screen floated before him, swiftly pulling up the mail. Luo Feng, my apologies, I've given your virtual universe account number to Mr. Nuolan Shan. It shouldn't affect you that much, right? Haruo said. Beside him Bulemu said, we also just received the call to order. We are leaving immediately to take part in the universe mercenary probation exams. We'll see you when we return. Wish that we'll be able to return alive. Yup. Haruo too smiled. All the best. Luo Feng raised a fist. If you come back alive, then I'll forget about you ever revealing my virtual universe number. Ha! Haruo laughed. Right Luo Feng, I've always seen you 3 brothers up till now only entering in the killing field slaughter space. If you have time, go check out the battle space. It's a little more meaningful than the slaughter space. Battle space? Luo Feng was slightly stunned. Okay, I'll check it out. Earth had been secured and protected by Luo Feng and was well fortified. Also, through the slave market he even bought another 29 star level 9 slaves, along with the 7 surviving star level 9 slaves from before. They formed a group of 36 elite. And according to the level of security systems around the planet, it could be said that as long as it wasn't someone or something from the universe, everything else could be easily settled. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God immersed themselves in their training. Killing fields, so the battle space is like that. Over this month, I've already reached the soaring shuttle's 5th layer of control. I'll choose a 7-star opponent and give it a shot. Luo Feng formally sent out the request. This was the first time for Luo Feng to battle against an opponent of the same level and grade. 1 second, 2 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, damn, I picked a 6-star opponent. There's actually no reply, he's ignoring me. Thunder God stared hard, my opponent is ignoring me too. Luo Feng said helplessly, Big brother, what about you? Big brother? Thunder God looked at Hong too. Hong rubbed his nose, saying solemnly, I picked a 9-star Star Traveler level 9, I feel that I should be able to battle with him. However, the battle request was immediately rejected. The system reported that a 9-star warrior has the power to set a limitation, only 7 stars and above are able to request for a battle with him. Luo Feng and Thunder God blinked hard. The 3 brothers, this was the first time they wanted to spar with others, and yet they were all looked down upon. Hong, Luo Feng, and Thunder God were all very confident in themselves, hence they went straight for battling warriors at the same level. That's not strange at all. After all, I am a newbie and my ranking is null, Thunder God said helplessly. If we were strong, in order to not waste time, I'm afraid that we'd have to pick high-ranking people to battle. Right now, from what I see, we'd probably do better starting from scratch and making a name for ourselves. We'll start from nothing. First we'll rush up the rankings, then we'll be able to challenge the strong ones. Even though Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God were confident that they could sweep the 1 and 2 star rankers, they still had to take it one step at a time. Luo Feng, what nickname did you pick? Thunder God asked. There was a function within the battle space allowing one to conceal one's true identity. You could pick whatever name you wished. Crazy. Luo Feng said, you? Martial arts god. Thunder God said, that's shameless enough. Luo Feng was speechless. Hong, who was beside, couldn't help but to laugh out too. Luo Feng looked at Hong and asked, Big brother, what about you? Killer. Hong replied. Luo Feng had the nickname of Crazy back then, and Hong was an assassin before the Great Nirvana. As for Thunder God, he had always been a martial arts idiot, martial arts crazy. To actually dare to give himself the name of martial arts god, that was crazy in itself. Let's begin then. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God lowered their heads, sending out requests to opponents, all of them simultaneously sending these requests out to the 1-star rankers. Your challenge has been accepted. Sending to the battle space. The virtual universe system's message appeared on Luo Feng's screen. Only then did Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief. Only this third challenge attempt actually went through. One never would have thought that the 1-star same level fighters would all be arrogant and proud, not wanting to accept a battle with a new challenger without an rank. The opponent that he finally managed to match up with had the name of Bloody Swordsman. Within the battle space. On an incomparably vast grassy field, there was a black metal arena that was about 10 kilometers long and 10 kilometers wide. A tall and built green-skinned man, carrying a long sword on his back, stood in the arena, muttering, Crazy. This person actually called himself Crazy. Looks like there's some crazy in his bones. TSK. Battles against a madman are usually the best. Newbie, let me teach you a good lesson. Nickname Bloody Swordsman, 12 wins, 3 losses. In the arena, from out of nowhere, a black-haired youth wearing a black battle uniform standing on a soaring shuttle appeared. The battle uniform along with the soaring shuttle were both chosen from within the system. One could choose whatever weapon one fancied within the battle space and slaughter space. As for the uniform, they had to pick the most basic of uniforms. Hello, Luo Feng smiled at the green-skinned youth before him, very courteous. You are crazy. Ha, just because you are courteous, I won't humiliate you too badly. Bloody Swordsman laughed and smiled back. Bloody Swordsman? You are my very first opponent in the battle space. You actually agreed and accepted my challenge. Just for that, I won't kill you too painfully. Luo Feng smiled, within his eyes however a trace of bloodthirst and insanity. Even though he had massacred a lot in the slaughter space, it was far from enough after having suppressed his bloodthirst for so long. However, venting it all out too resulted in the bloodthirst seeping deeper into his bones. What an arrogant newbie. Bloody Swordsman laughed coldly. With a rumble, attacks that were 10 times the speed of sound rained down on Luo Feng, and the high-speed attacks resulted in the air exploding with ripples far behind the Bloody Swordsman. Luo Feng floated calmly in mid-air. Go! Luo Feng raised his hand and gently pointed towards the Bloody Swordsman. Crazy's first battle, victory. After madly training the swordfish formation within the killing fields for a month, battling over 10,000 times, I've reached the soaring shuttle's 5th layer of control. Right now using the 4th layer is almost like a natural reflex, flexible and nimble. Killing someone of the same level would definitely be a simple massacre. Luo Feng was very confident. This confidence wasn't just baseless. That was because his consciousness aptitude had already reached 30 among the star level 1 spirit readers. To be able to control up to 36 weapons simultaneously, even within the universe, he would still be considered an absolute genius. As for the reason behind Luo Feng's consciousness strength, that was because of the Golden Horned Beast's extremely powerful consciousness. Such amazing consciousness strength! Along with the Yunmo planet's basic training, plus the soaring shuttle was something his teacher Hu Yangbo constructed. Using the Yunmo planet's techniques was simply akin to being a fish in water. His master wasn't afraid of his students learning too much, only them learning too well. Luo Feng's achievements with the soaring shuttle were indeed high. The golden swordfish waved its tail and smashed directly into the green blade's edge, smashing the spirit weapon straight into the surface of the black arena, causing a little hole in the surface of the arena, with sparks flying everywhere. The golden swordfish then proceeded to fly around the head of the opponent draped in a black robe once, cutting it clean off. Crazy's second battle, victory. The golden swordfish pierced right through the chest of the opponent, before swiftly exploding into pieces. 30 blades rushed out from the skin of the opponent's body, of which 3 actually rushed out from his forehead. Crazy's third battle, victory. I've finally received a 1-star ranking. Continue. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. Thunder God held in his hand a thunder blade, unleashing his domain around himself, lightning snakes wrapping themselves around him, star level 1, with his own domain. When I first saw the data within the battle space system, I didn't dare to believe it. It's true, come on. Let me see just how strong a domain user is, said a 4-star ranker, a tall and skinny male with only one eye as he held a sword. You'll find out soon enough. Thunder God curled his lips and smiled. After killing you, I'll reach the 3-star rank. Hong held in his hand a black pike, quietly standing in the arena, a Star Traveler level 9 fighter with a domain. That's interesting, it's rare I meet someone like that here, come on. A short but built youth, holding a blade each in his hands, eyes gleaming red from excitement. My third battle and I meet a 6-star ranker, very good. Hong nodded. About 3 hours later, within the Killing Field's big hall, Luo Feng sat with his brother's second brother. I haven't even begun to fully enjoy my battles and you actually called me out here? Luo Feng looked dissatisfied with Thunder God. We have been too serious about every battle, especially since they are getting increasingly more powerful. I'm getting tired mentally, let's all rest a little. Thunder God laughed. Beside him Hong also nodded. I'm not too tired. I don't feel anything at all. Luo Feng couldn't help but say, what are your ranks now? 6 stars. Thunder God said, 7 stars. Hong said, I'm only 3 stars. Luo Feng was so mad he gritted his teeth. When I first began I had to initiate the challenges. Later on all the higher rankers began to challenge me themselves. Thunder God laughed. A star level 1 with his own domain, that's extremely rare, hence many strong warriors wanted to battle with me. Me too. Hong said. Luo Feng could only laugh helplessly. He understood why Hong and Thunder God could raise their ranks so quickly. Even though he himself killed the opponents fast enough, most of them were only low-level opponents. Also, he didn't have anything to attract the higher rankers to challenge him. I'll first have some drinks, after a while, I'll go in and continue. I won't stop until I reach the 6-star rank. Luo Feng said, 6 stars, that was the bare minimum standard display of strength within that level. He was mad. Luo Feng had gone mad. Battle after battle had made Luo Feng's battle record to be constantly revised. 121 wins, 0 losses, 183 wins, 0 losses, 218 wins, 0 losses. This sort of invincible record finally began to draw the attention of the higher rankers, resulting in them finally accepting and requesting battles from him. This was because this sort of over 100 wins, 0 losses record was very likely to be a powerful warrior first entering into the battle space. There was a good saying around here, that spending long periods of time within the battle space, as long as one constantly battled, no one would dare say he would be able to maintain his perfect record. Black Dragon Mountain Island's killing fields had indeed gathered countless elites of the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Luo Feng, Hong and Thunder God swiftly rose through the battle space, gradually gaining the attention of many people. However, these sort of star-level fights would usually only be spectated by some groups of higher-level people, looking to see if they could get strong people into their organizations. After all, the geniuses had to be contacted early. The moment they hesitated, others would snatch them away. Roland Shan, I heard your 100 Tiger building has gathered quite a few elite heirs. Look, this youth just appeared out of nowhere. He is an absolute genius. If you miss out, others would definitely snatch him away. An absolute genius? Right, this youth's consciousness level is very high. Star level 1 with such a high consciousness level, it's unbelievable. Also, even in the world of controlling spirit weapons, he's extremely high. Look. Within 2 days of work, he already has 822 wins, 1 loss. His ranking, already 7 stars. Nuolan Shan looked at the battle on the screen. Just as he was about to carefully observe the battle, he realized he recognized the person, Luo Feng. Nuolan Shan looked again. His initial feeling of anticipation immediately vanished, left with only feelings of dissatisfaction. Nuolan Shan's expression was cold. Looking at the footage displayed on the screen before him, he didn't have any good feelings about Luo Feng at all. Especially since after the meeting, he specifically requested for someone to write a persuasive and convincing letter to send over. Since Luo Feng didn't reply at all, this naturally pissed him off even more. Seeing Luo Feng making a name for himself displeased him greatly. As he looked, Nuolan Shan revealed shock, looking at the big-nosed man beside him. This the genius you were talking about? From the footage, Luo Feng was being destroyed and played with. Utter defeat. This is the footage from his final match. The big-nosed man explained, this youth called crazy hasn't battled since losing this match. The final match's footage? Nuolan Shan's lips curled upwards. The scene of Luo Feng completely losing, he couldn't help but laugh gleefully. Within the battle space, it was very empty. Luo Feng sat alone in the arena. The soaring shuttle too had fallen beside him. How did it end up like this? I couldn't even land a single blow? It was complete defeat. She was only a fighter, and not a spirit reader. A star level 1 fighter with only a 6-star rank, she actually made my soaring shuttle totally and completely unable to defend against her at all? Luo Feng's eyes displayed pain. The scene before was simply like a nightmare. 822 wins. 1 loss. After consecutively winning 822 matches, this level of glory, this level of confidence. Luo Feng had thought that he was an absolute genius amongst the star level 1s, with hardly anyone that could defeat him. However, earlier, meeting that dual knife-wielding female fighter, he was totally humiliated. This female fighter even gave him chances time and again, letting him off even though she had the chance to kill him. Letting him off a total of 9 times at the critical moment, finally slashing between his eyebrows. Death, just from that short battle, He was easily let off 9 times. Obviously this female fighter was only playing around. Her abilities and power far exceeded Luo Feng's, like an adult playing with a child, letting him off 9 times and finally killing him. I'm actually that weak. Am I that weak? Luo Feng gritted his teeth and grimaced in pain. At that time, there were many challenge requests sent to Luo Feng, but he didn't have any heart at all to battle again. The only thing filling his mind was the scene from before, with the enormous amount of power from the swordfish formation. Under the female fighter's incomparably sturdy and sharp attacks, the formation was slashed and knocked away. With blades in both hands, it was flawless. How could I lose so badly? She's the same level, and a fighter. Luo Feng could accept defeat, but he couldn't accept such an utter defeat. This loss made Luo Feng realize one thing: just within the Black Dragon Mountain Island, there were many of the same level that were much stronger than himself. Otherwise, being the same level, how could she defeat him so easily? In another battle space, Thunder God was engaged in battle with a female fighter wearing white. His battle record before 2 was pretty impressive: 691 wins and 3 losses, 8-star ranking. Even though he lost 3 times, Thunder God didn't really care about it. After all, there were bound to be wins and losses in battles. The main reason for coming to the battle space was to grow and break through. Failure was more beneficial to one's breakthrough than success. As he had his own domain, hence Thunder God's opponents were mostly 7 stars, 8 stars, and even 9-star rankers. Losing 3 matches was completely normal. Break. A seemingly maddened Thunder God, completely enveloped in his domain, the raw energy battle blade in his hand too had become like lightning. The female fighter dressed in white battle uniform was obviously fresh and relaxed. She had no expression, ice cold, wielding in each hand sharp battle blades. The 2 blades flashed about swiftly, parrying swiftly against each of Thunder God's attacks. Amidst the high-speed battle, the white-cloaked female fighter actually went past the blurred images of Thunder God's battle blades, slashing his neck. His head was cut clean off. Thunder God, defeat. Hong, dressed in all black, and holding a long silver spear, his eyes gleamed, looking at the opponent before him. Ha, thrilling. I've battled 695 consecutive matches. Compared to you, the other opponents cannot compare at all. They don't deserve to be called elites at all. Hong's words went through the virtual assistant's auto-translation and was converted into universe language. He faced a skinny white-robed male. The man held a long blade, looking at Hong. I too didn't expect to meet such an opponent like you here in the Killing Fields battle space. Let's go again. The man said softly. His body became a bolt of lightning rushing forward, piercing straight towards Hong. At the same time, the long blade in his hand seemed to intelligently slash in a peculiar arc, ready to attack Hong's many vital points. Ha. Hong was exhilarated as he laughed loudly. The spear in his hand fiercely revolved one round, almost like curling a myriad of waves and directly aiming to sweep away the enemy. At the same time, the spear entered straight into the pitch-dark domain, like a deadly whirlpool within the darkness, looking to swallow the white-robed swordsman before it. The white-robed youth's swordsmanship was clean and precise, with sparks of electricity sparking at every arc. At the same time, the electricity domain around him was constantly expanding. Rumble. The 2 clashed and separated, before clashing again as quick as lightning. Intense. Hong's previous 695 matches had been incomparably relaxed and easy to win. This time, however, he actually met a powerful and fearsome opponent. The 2 had clashed over and over more than 1,000 times. It was clear Hong's domain had the advantage on the opponent, but the opponent was accurate and precise. His peculiar swordsmanship was indeed powerful, causing them to be stuck in a stalemate. After such a long battle, neither one of them had made a single mistake. Rumble. The 2 stood separately in the arena, staring at each other. Killer, you've earned my respect. For this battle, let's call it even. The white-robed youth swordsman said, you 2 have earned my respect. Hong's eyes seemed to have stars in them. He stared at the opponent. After a month of hard training within the battle space, my domain has finally entered the next level. I've yet to unleash this skill before. Right now, I'll use it. Treat it as my respect for you. Hong's words were translated through the virtual assistant's robotic voice. What? The white-robed youth swordsman's expression changed greatly. This move, I call it, this hate knows no end. Finishing his words, Hong's spear vibrated. The spear suddenly became like a fierce enormous dragon rushing out, with a strong revolving wave around it, adding to the already thick and dark domain around, creating an endless tornado attack, making the spear even sharper than before. The white-robed youth swordsman's eyes squinted, electricity sparking out from the blade within his hand. The powerful spear that made people's hearts tremble pierced right through the white-robed youth's head, emerging from the back of his brain region. This battle, killer, Hong, victorious. Within the Killing Fields big hall. The blood-red background of the hall, black tables, ice-cold chairs. Luo Feng and Thunder God sat together, their moods not good at all. I didn't expect you to meet her too. Luo Feng laughed painfully. What, you met her too? Thunder God was shocked. Yeah. Luo Feng nodded. That female fighter is really I wasn't her match at all. She was completely toying with me, humiliating me. And her physical traits are only that of a star level 1, same grade and level as me. She was actually so much stronger than me. My soaring shuttle was a joke in front of her. Me too, I feel that she should have her own domain, but she didn't even unleash her domain, hurting me a total of 9 times before finally killing me. It's two. Thunder God's smile was bitter. On Earth. The two of them, one was a high-flying absolute genius, the other stood at the pinnacle of Earth, the founder of the Thunder Dojo. Who would have thought that there would be a day that someone of the same grade and level was able to toy with them and defeat them easily? Second and third brother, why'd you call me out? Hong, dressed in all black, came with a smile in high spirits. Why do the both of you seem unhappy? We lost. Luo Feng shook his head. We lost very badly. Thunder God's expression too was ugly. Losing is a good thing. Hong sat on the chair beside, saying, only through losing will one realize his weaknesses, only through that will we improve. But we lost too badly. Luo Feng looked at Hong. Big brother, your mood seems really good. Haha, I met an opponent, a very strong opponent. Hong laughed and glanced at Luo Feng and Thunder God. If the two of you were in the Star Traveler level 9, I'm afraid you wouldn't be a match for him. He was incredibly strong. If not for my breakthrough after training hard in the killing field slaughter space for a month, I wouldn't have been able to win this battle either. It was thrilling to meet such an opponent. The killing fields, besides the cheaper and more populated big hall, there were still some other secret, quiet rooms within one of the quiet rooms. A big, sturdy and well-built man was dressed in all green, sitting on a sofa, looking at the screen before him. On it displayed 3 different videos simultaneously. One was Luo Feng against the female fighter, the other was Thunder God against the female fighter, and finally Hong against the white-robed youth. The well-built man's eyes gleamed like never before. He stared hard at the third scene. Hong against the white-robed youth. He actually has a domain of 3 layers. This final attack, he exploded and unleashed his domain. It's definitely a 3-layer domain. A Star Traveler level 9 punk actually reached the 3-layer domain. The man was extremely excited. Suddenly, a knocking sound resounded. Come in. The tall and sturdy man said. The door opened. A serious-looking female fighter dressed in a white robe, along with a skinny youth swordsman in white robes entered, closing the door behind. After which, the white-robed female fighter bowed respectfully. My lord, the mission is completed. Very good, the both of you can leave the virtual universe and return. I've already sent your contribution credits out. The tall and sturdy man said, yes. The white-robed female fighter along with the white-robed youth vanished into nothing. Obviously their consciousness had left the virtual universe and returned to reality.